Hi, this is the first video of a series of videos about presentation skills. In this video, we're going to talk about that crippling fear of speaking in front of an audience. By the end of this video, I will expect you to have some tools that will allow you to become a better presenter. If you find presenting in front of an audience intimidating, even if it's at a meeting with a few colleagues, then this is the video that you need to watch. Hi, my name is Jose Truchado and I'm an executive coach as well as a professional trainer. I've been giving conferences for many years, sometimes in front of small audiences, but sometimes in front of really big audiences. And in order to do that, I had to overcome my fear of presenting in front of people. By the end of this video, you will end up with a list of exercises that will allow you to overcome that fear of presenting in front of an audience. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe because I will be posting more videos regularly. Knowing how to present in front of people, it's a skillful art that can be learned, but can only be sharpened by practicing. So throughout these videos, I'm going to try to break down the art of presenting into modules that you can easily watch and practice at home. The fear of presenting. Speaking in front of an audience, whichever audience that might be, should be an enjoyable experience and not at all an excruciating torture like it is for some people. There are many good things that can result out of a good presentation. The first one that comes to my mind is raising your professional profile. I'm going to tell you a little story later about that. But think about it. Think about the people that are good presenters. Whenever I ask people in my workshops, who do they think they're a good presenter? People usually answer with Obama, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey. So let's think about these people. Let's think about what they have in common. What they have in common is that they're unique. They have a unique way of presenting. So there's no point in imitating. You need to find the unique presenter that you are. You need to find your own voice and you need to find your own confidence. And that confidence can only be found within you. The fear of presenting. Let's talk about that crippling feeling that we feel before presenting in front of people. Where does it come from and how can we avoid it? Not how to avoid presenting, which I'm sure many of you do because of this fear, but how to avoid having that feeling that cripples us and prevent us from being that unique presenter that we can be. Let's talk about the origin of this fear. Where does it come from? This fear comes from us standing in front of a group of people that we think that we can either disappoint or that they are there to judge us. And that fear of judgment or disappointment produces a chemical reaction in our body and is exactly the same reaction that humans feel in the fight or flight response. Your heart rate goes up, your breathing becomes fast and faster, and you can't think of what you need to say. This is the crippling fear, and this is what we're going to tackle today. Let me tell you the story about Demosthenes. Demosthenes, as you can guess from that complicated name, lived in ancient Greece. His father was a very wealthy sword maker, but unfortunately he died when Demosthenes was 7 years old. So Demosthenes had 3 guardians that were supposed to take care of his fortune, and they did take care of his fortune. By the time Demosthenes turned 20, there was very little money left. In ancient Greece, you could sue somebody, you could sue people, but in order to sue somebody, you had to defend the case yourself. There were no lawyers. So in his first attempt, Demosthenes completely failed. He felt so miserably that he went home and created a plan. He didn't want to go through that experience again. He wanted to be able to send a message and convince his audience of his right for the money that he was owed. So what was his plan? Well, first of all, he went home, shaved his head, only half of it actually, so he wouldn't be tempted to go out. And then when he was at home, he stayed and practiced his speech in front of a mirror. So here's your first clue, practice. There's a saying that says, practice makes perfect. Because you're the best judge of yourself, you will see all the things that you need to correct from your speech, from your presentation. So let's go back to Demosthenes. When he went back home, he analyzed why he had failed. And one of the things that he realized was that he was very nervous when he presented. He was not convincing. He was stammering. It was really difficult for him to deliver his speech convincingly. And then he analyzed the effects of being nervous in his body. And he saw that his heart rate went up. His breathing became faster and faster. So he thought, how can I replicate those conditions? What he did was to practice his speech while running. Yes, he realized that when he ran, his heart rate went up, his breathing became faster, and he tried to deliver the same message by doing so. His conclusion was that it was impossible. So he had to create a plan to manage that breathing. Clue number 2, breathe. When you're presenting in front of an audience, your breathing pattern is really important. The way you breathe. So if you become self-aware of how you breathe, of how fast you breathe, you will be able to control it. And by controlling it, you will be able to feel less nervous. You will be able to calm down. So when analyzing his first failure, Demosthenes also realized that he wasn't hurt. There was a lot of chatter in the room. People were talking over each other, and his voice was not heard. So he said, how can I replicate that? And he decided to go to the coast and deliver his speech in front of the waves, of the crashing waves, of the deafening sound of the crashing waves. And until his voice was heard over the waves, he didn't stop. Your voice is really, really important when presenting. In fact, I would say that 30% is content, 70% is your voice and how you tell that content. You need to be able to tell a story. You need to be able to carry your audience throughout that story convincingly. So being able to control your voice will be your third clue on how to not get nervous. I'll make a specific video about your voice during a presentation, but hold that thought in mind. Your voice is really important. If you sound flat, if you don't sound convincing, if your voice doesn't have inflections throughout the story, then you will lose the attention of your audience. So Demosthenes went on to become one of the greatest presenters in history. Talk about raising your professional profile through presenting. Everybody in Athens wanted him to write their speeches and train them on how to deliver them. His methods of delivering a speech, of creating a speech and making sure that that speech has an impact are still studied today, are still used today. So we talk about 3 techniques so far on how to prevent that fear. First one, practice, practice, practice. Practice in front of a mirror. Second one, your breathing. Make sure you practice your breathing. Make sure that during your presentation, you allow yourself time to breathe. There's nothing wrong with silence. Third, your voice. Your voice is really important. Your voice has to have inflections. It has to go up. It has to go down. It has to carry your story through so you don't lose the attention of the audience. Another reason why people are scared of presenting in front of a public. What's the difference between presenting and talking to your friends? It's the structure. The structure of that presentation. Because a presentation has a structure that we believe that we need to memorize from A to Z. If we forget about one of the steps in between, then we get things like brain block. We start getting nervous. Our body starts reacting in that flight response that we talked about earlier. So one of the keys of delivering a good presentation and not being nervous about it is turning that presentation into a conversation. The same type of conversation that you have with your friends, but delivering the content. You still deliver the same content, but making sure that you turn that content into a conversation. So let's summarize what we've learned today. First thing, rehearse. Rehearse in front of a mirror. When you rehearse in front of a mirror, you will put yourself in the shoes of your audience. You will see those little things that you need to polish in order to deliver an effective presentation. Second thing, to breathe. Ensure you allow yourself to breathe. And if you ever feel those nerves crawling up on you and threatening with a brain block, stop. Take a deep breath. Relax. It will not only allow you to relax, but it will also give you more gravitas. Number 3, your voice. Make sure your voice has inflections, that it carries the message through. If you don't sound passionate, if you don't sound exciting about what you're talking about, how can you expect your audience to be excited about it? 4th thing, turn your presentation into a conversational one. Shy away from stiff structures. Stiff structures are very dangerous because if you forget one part of it, then it has a domino effect and you can crash. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel as I will be posting more videos regularly. If you have any questions, don't forget to post them in the comment section of this video.